Okay. Hi, my name is Cristin Wittwer, and I'm the recruiting director for Waffle House here in Middle Tennessee. And I have been with the company for about 4 years, and I am over the strategic grassroots recruiting plan for my 24 restaurant area. And I do that with the use of my contacts and social networks, and without the use of social media and online job postings that a lot of recruiters rely on today.
Cool. Hey, Kristen. My name is Scotty Smalls. This is currently my third year at college, my second year at MTSU. After graduating from college, I decided to go out of state to pursue a degree in sports management. Missed home, so I transferred back here, and I was still studying sports management, but here it's called Leisure Sports Tourism Studies. And after a year, I was like, I really don't want to do this no more. And one of my professors named Dr. Gray, she informed the class that we were introducing a new major called Tourism and Hospitality Management. And I was like, I worked in restaurants really my whole life. Let's see what else it has to offer. So that's why I made that change. And one day I want to be in the hotel industry one day, hopefully, and be able to manage a hotel or something like that. And yeah.
That's a really cool story. I've been in restaurants, I feel like, my whole life, and I grew up in them. My family actually owned a small restaurant when
Yeah.
as soon as I was like 12 years old, and I was old enough to get behind the counter.
Oh, yeah.
And so I've found myself in customer service positions since then.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't always been in that typical, salesperson or associate role, but I've been able to grow my career in that industry.
Right.
So I love it. I love restaurants.
Right.
So that's cool that you like hospitality.
It's pretty cool. I love that feeling of like helping someone, basically.
Yes.
Satisfying their needs and wants.
Mm-hmm.
So my first question is for you. I noticed that you work for the Cristin Estates
Mm-hmm.
as a leasing specialist, and you were also a human resource assistant at the Wood Personal Services. How did your career path take you to where you are now as the recruiting director at Waffle House?
So I've been very fortunate in my life that I've been recruited and led to the positions that I've had, and
Mm-hmm.
they've all been similar skill set, obviously not the same industry.
Mm-hmm.
My husband and I moved to Tennessee about 8 years ago, and I wasn't working at the time. He was in the military, so we had just left Virginia, and we were only there for a few months. So when I came to Tennessee, I wasn't in a huge rush to find something. And then we leased an apartment at Cristin Estates, and I hit it off with their property manager. And she said, "Hey, you're really outgoing, you're really nice and friendly," and that customer service background that I had.
Yeah.
And I ended up working there for quite a few years, and I really enjoyed it. But there wasn't a whole lot of growth opportunities in that field that I was necessarily interested in. I didn't want to be a property manager. There's a whole lot that goes into that that's just kind of over my head and not really my skill set.
Yeah.
So when I had the opportunity to kind of switch gears and get into the human resources world, it's something that I jumped at because I didn't necessarily have that title before, but I was familiar with the paperwork and onboarding from previous career in restaurant management.
Right.
So I was able to get started at that staffing company, Wood Personnel. And it was great for me because I also had a son at that point, and it was a little bit of a step back in my career financially, and kind of, going from being almost like my own boss to being an assistant. So that was a little bit different game changer for me. But again, I was able, it was all part of the plan. And at Cristin Estates, I leased an apartment to the area vice president of Waffle House and his family.
Wow.
When they were in between homes. They were building a new home, and they sold there so fast that they needed an apartment for a couple of months while their home was being finished. So I hit it off with them, and they were just amazing. And I always remembered how kind they were. They did a whole big breakfast for our residents, and I was really impressed with them. So when I was at the staffing company, we did a fun run, and I saw it was being sponsored by Waffle House. And I was like, I wonder if that Jeff Camp will be there.
Yeah.
So I was there with my team, everyone that I work with at the staffing company. So all of our shirts say, Wood Personnel, we're hiring, everywhere on our shirts. And my now boss saw me and said, "Hey, you're in HR now. I need someone on my recruiting team."
Wow.
And I said, "No thanks." Didn't really say no thanks, but I just kind of smiled in my head saying, like, I'm not leaving a job that I've been at for less than a year.
Yeah.
I didn't think that would be a good move. And I was out of the restaurant industry now for, quite a few years, so I didn't know about getting back in either because, it's kind of hustle bustle, very busy.
Yes.
But because I knew Jeff and because of my faith in him as a person, I said, I'm going to hear him out. And I'm so glad that I did because it has been such an amazing experience. I've grown as a person. I've been able to, I was promoted in my first year 3 times. So I started as an entry level recruiting specialist, and then I was HR manager within 3 months, and then another 3 months I was the regional director and then area director.
Wow.
So yeah, kind of was able to bounce right up, and that just meant to me that I was in the right place for me.
Great.
Yes.
So what are your main responsibilities as a recruiting director?
So, the biggest thing for me is in my title, recruiting director. They actually changed my title from area people director to recruiting director within the last year, just because that is our biggest contribution is our management team members. And then anything that falls under people kind of comes to us in my market. So I do work in field. A lot of times people think I travel from Atlanta. I don't. I live here in Murfreesboro.
Right.
So besides being the person that's coming up with the game plan, okay, how are we going to get these people in the door that are going to benefit our team and be able to grow and prosper in our company, and how am I going to do that without social media or LinkedIn, Indeed, all those things that normally recruiters rely on. So I have to come up with that game plan, and then I have to enact it, and then I also have a small team of recruiters that work for me, and then they hire for the hourlies, and how are they going to go about their day as well. And so also I'm a brand ambassador. I build that career brand for Waffle House since we have a $0 marketing budget. People don't realize that about us, and that includes our career brand. So it's all word of mouth. It's all boots in the ground, getting involved in the community, and that's actually the best way to recruit, I feel.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
A lot of people are like solely relying on technology, and I get to interact with people every day and get to meet. Say I was recruiting you. I know Scotty. I know what his hopes and dreams are. I know what his situation is. I know if he wants to move one day or move up or stay where he's at. I have that relationship with someone before they even get started.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
What are some necessary skills needed for your position?
So I would say probably for a lot of different positions out there, it's just some basic things. Number one, people skills and a love for people, and having confidence in yourself to go up and talk to complete strangers and be able to present yourself in the company in a way that's professional and memorable.
Right.
So people have to remember what you do and what you need and how you can help them. So you have to be tenacious a little bit and have some grit, because you get a lot of no's in recruiting, and that can't take away from you. You have to just kind of keep plugging away at it. And there's a lot of peaks and valleys in recruiting as well. So you're going to have times where you're doing great and you're having people coming in from everywhere, and then there's going to be times where you're really searching. So you have to be able to keep yourself motivated and going, and also be able to, with the self-motivation, I don't have an office. I don't have someone that's checking in with me every single day. I decide where I'm going to be at. So I have to make sure I motivate myself to make an impact every day.
Right. Cool. Let me see. If you can go back and do something differently in your career, what would you do?
Be president. I don't know. No. Honestly, I feel like I've just kind of been very blessed to stumble my way into my dream job that I never really knew existed.
Right.
I absolutely love what I do and the people that I get to work with. I'm so happy. I would have just looked for this sooner if I had known it existed. Right. Because I feel like I've really found the perfect job for me.
Okay. What kind of advice would you give to your younger self?
So the advice I would give my younger self is I would have started what I'm doing now sooner.
Yeah.
I'm really big on self-development. And I used to kind of think that was something selfish almost, but now I see it's actually unselfish, because the more I develop myself, the better leader I become, the better friend I become, better parent I become. Just always be curious, study, grow, and don't think you know it all, because you don't. There's so much out there and so many little nuggets that you can take away from different people, different books.
Right.
And I would have started that a lot sooner, because I'm constantly like going to see a speaker, or I'm in school again. You know, there's a lot of things I'm doing now I wish I would have done when I was in my 20s.
Gotcha. What is the toughest part about your job?
So, gosh, it's really not a super difficult job, but I would just say again, in our society, we're so used to getting those automatic rewards.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I won't see the benefit of my efforts for months. So I'm not, sitting here talking to you today. Who knows what could come of it in the future, but I won't get to see that right away.
Yeah.
Or going to speak to a class, someone may not want to jump on board with us today, but they might think about it, and a year from now decide to apply and join the management team. So just knowing to keep myself motivated that even if I don't see results right now, they're going to come in the future.
Cool. So my last question, how do you stay updated of trends in our industry?
So I get emails every day. I have different things that I subscribe to with the restaurant industry, HR industry. I get my email blown up with stuff.
Yeah.
But for me, I almost feel like I like to know what other people are doing, but we are so kind of set in our ways with certain things. I know we're not going to really tweak it.
Yeah.
So rather than trying to learn different ways to recruit online or use technology, which I feel like a lot of the ways are going now, I try to see how I can improve myself and, what kind of organization can I get involved with that I don't know about now, or how can I reach a different audience that maybe I haven't heard of before or thought of before. So.
Well, thank you again, Cristin, for your time. People in the THM program really appreciate your feedback. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Scotty.